Hello, my hot glue loving friends. We're back for episode 9 of Black Magic Craft. And some good news, our friend Steve is back with us after a paint eating incident related suspension. Today we're going to continue on our nautical theme that we started last episode. I'm sure all of you have built your longboats. Actually, I know some of you built them immediately after the episode launched. Like the next day, I get sent this. Look at this, Mike Harris. Like the day after the video came out. Made this awesome longboat. Templates, man. Templates they're great. Anyway, now that you have this badass ship, something cool's got to happen. Your party is out on a nice, relaxing cruise, and all of a sudden, the boat is under attack by a giant octopus, squid, kraken, beast, Cthulhu thing, whatever, something with tentacles. You need to make a set of these creepy looking tentacles. So this project, it all started when somebody posted on the DM Scotty Facebook group some photos of some octopus pens that they bought at Dollar Tree. Now, full disclosure, this project does break one of my rules for Black Magic Craft tutorials. And that rule is that I don't use materials that you aren't going to easily be able to get. Now, I know I use a lot of extruded polystyrene and some of you can't get that, but it is something available across the world in hardware stores, whereas these are a very specific toy from a specific store. However, they're just too perfect, and also I think it's likely that you'll be able to find them if you have a Dollar Tree in your city, and I know most of you do because everyone on the Facebook group is always talking about Dollar Tree. When these were posted online, I thought, they won't have them at my Dollar Tree. But you know what, I checked, and lo and behold, they did. Right at the front, amongst all the crap by the tills, there's a bucket of different stupid pens, and a whole bunch of them are these tentacle ones. So, you're gonna need to go out to a Dollar Tree and see if you can find them. However, failing that, this build can be done with basically any kind of hollow octopus toy. You can take these principles and use them with a different toy or even a different project. Basically what it comes down to is we took a cheap, crappy rubber toy, put an armature in it, made them solid, and painted them up. Without further ado, let's build some tentacles.
Alright, first you're going to need to make some armatures so that you can have your tentacles in various poses. I used some 14 gauge electrical wire with the outer sheathing removed, and to avoid having the wire poke through the soft rubber, I coated the end of each one with a blob of hot glue. Next I take the wire and feed it into the tentacle, making sure that the end reaches the very tip. You'll need to fill these pieces with something to make them solid so that they can't squish, causing the paint to crack on the soft rubber. I used Great Stuff expanding foam. It's important that you use the door and window variety as it has the lowest expansion rate. Feed the spray foam tube right to the tip of the tentacle and slowly and carefully fill with foam. Work your way down to the bottom, trying to avoid both overfilling and leaving gaps. It's a bit tricky as the foam expands over time, but you'll get the hang of it. Give the foam a few hours to expand and cure. Once the foam is cured, cut off all the excess. At this point, you can also adjust the pose of each one by bending the wire armature. To base these, I use some 2-inch washers. With some wax paper underneath, I fill in the hole of each washer with some hot glue, making a pile of glue big enough to attach a tentacle. Then, using more hot glue, I add a bit of texture around the edges to start building up the water. To give the bases a bit more realistic wave look, I use some white acrylic latex caulking and smear it over the surface and sculpt in some waves using a craft stick or a wet finger to kind of pull up little wave crests. Let the caulking cure for a few hours before spray bombing with black paint. This is one case where you do want to make sure you use spray paint rather than just black acrylic craft paint. It'll stick better to the rubber. For the first coat of color, I use a vibrant dark purple, and this could take you a few coats. Then with a little bit of white added to the purple, I hit the tops of the suction cups. I then mix in some turquoise with my purple to create a contrasting shade for the underside of the tentacles between the suction cups. After repeating the first few coats of paint on the tentacles, I put a coat of dark blue on the base water. At this point, they have a rather cartoonish look, so you want to tone it down a bit by doing several coats with a black wash. Then, using a lighter blue, I dry brush the crests of the waves on the bases. For the last bit of paintwork, I use a white to dry brush the very tips of all the waves, giving it that foamy water look. I also pull some of this paint up onto the lower part of the tentacle so it looks like the water is actually splashing up around it. And the final step is to give everything several coats with a spray gloss varnish. I used a brand called Minowax, but any brand will do. This will give everything a nice wet look, and it will also help protect the paint on the soft rubber from cracking and chipping by giving everything a nice hard shell. The finished pieces look great, and I'm super happy with the results. They do have some text embossed on them that you can see in this close-up, but it's not really noticeable in the game table. If you're really concerned about it, you could shave that off before starting the build.
Alright guys, I hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you did, hit a like on the video. If you aren't already a subscriber, go below, hit subscribe. We are putting out awesome tutorials at the speed of moderately often. But trying to always put out quality work so you won't be disappointed. Also, if you want to head on over to Facebook, there's a Black Magic Craft group there where I post random stuff. Link is in the description. Until next time,